Yields back. I now recognize the ranking member, Mr. Swalwell from California, for 5 minutes of questioning.
Great, thank you. Councilmember Kramer of Louisville, you have one of the most important jobs here. You are protecting the nation's bourbon supply, so thank you. I know our chairman and many of my colleagues, thank you. But you did, in all seriousness, mention a weakness of the program as it exists right now, which is it doesn't have much agility, or maybe you said like bandwidth to understand like the differences between sizes of cities. Like, how would you structure a future reauthorization to better reflect that and better target where the need is?
Thank you for that question. I really appreciate that. I think the first bit of the answer is we need to recognize that the larger cities like Louisville, for example, we do have the resources. We have a person on staff who his primary responsibility is cybersecurity. But we're a half an hour drive from Elizabethtown. There was a movie made about that place. It's a fairly small town out in the middle of bourbon country. And they don't have the resources to do this. But we do have a very active state league of cities, an organization of municipalities. Allowing the grant to go through them instead of through the state would assure that that money actually made its way to local governments, and it would also allow the state league to work together with those other cities and hire a person that would be able to work with all of them and not just with one city like our own. And again, it reaches into the school systems. There are some school systems in the state of Kentucky that the highest paid positions in the county are in the school system. And I just want to drill home, that's an area that I think folks overlook. There's a lot of data that's handled there, and we need to do the best we can to reach out to that community as well.
Absolutely. And Mr. Raymond, can I ask, as somebody who has administered millions of dollars of these grants to many jurisdictions, municipalities, agencies, what are some of the weaknesses that you've seen among some of the recipients? Like if you had a new tranche or a new reauthorization, like what have you learned from this that makes a candidate more eligible or makes a candidate least eligible as you're thinking about where these funds should go?
Well, admittedly, the program did have a slow start, right? And I think any kind of new grant program, the clarity around getting people to understand what it is to be eligible and what people really needed within their environment was probably the most difficult challenge for us. And again, the assessment, the cybersecurity assessments that were part of the first year were absolutely critical for building for all of our municipalities an understanding of what their risks were and how we would address it. I think it goes to the earlier question of did they know? When we have these assessments, they now know. And so I would say that continuing that to demonstrate the improvements would be absolutely critical. For additional funding, I do think that I understand the desire in the construct of the program to have, to wean states off the program with the declining match or the increasing state match. However, that's complicated with the change in the funding as well. I think having a stable match over the life of the program makes it far easier to administer as people are working across the different grant years. Should the desire be to still shift some of that burden back to the states through funding, you can do that through the overall funding of the program and not the mix of the two. And I think that we had a lot of people applying for the first year at a 90% reimbursement rate, and then we're looking at will we get that same kind of participation as the rates fall and local governments' budgets remain tight.
Thanks. Yield back.